The NFL's biggest problem isn't player safety or contract holdouts, it's that the fate of its multi-billion-dollar games is decided by part-time employees. Despite generating over $20 billion a year, the league relies on referees who spend their weekdays selling dental equipment or running dairy farms. Most of these officials have other full-time jobs, limiting their training and focus compared to what you'd see in other leagues. This isn't an accident, it's a structural choice by the league. Think about the fallout from the infamous Saints-Rams no call. That moment changed a franchise's future and left fans furious, just one example of how part-time officiating creates real-world chaos. Other leagues have faced similar controversies, but they've taken steps to hold officials accountable. The NFL, on the other hand, has built a system that prioritizes control over consistency and leaves fans paying the price for its accountability void. So let's look at what this actually means for the people making the calls on the field. Most NFL referees aren't spending their weekdays studying game tape or drilling the rulebook. They're working demanding jobs. Lawyers, teachers, managers, business owners, balancing their main careers with their responsibilities as NFL officials. When Sunday rolls around, these part-timers are thrust into the spotlight, making split-second decisions that influence the outcome of games watched by millions, with billions of dollars on the line. It's not a resource issue. The NFL brings in more than $20 billion annually, making its 121 officials. Full-time employees would cost between $25 and $30 million a year, based on average annual salaries of $250,000 per official. That's a tiny fraction of league revenue. For comparison, some Super Bowl referees can earn a bonus of $30,000 for just one game. So if money isn't the obstacle, why does the NFL stick with part-time officials? The answer is rooted in power, not payroll. This structure gives the league leverage. For most referees, officiating is a prestigious side gig, a second income that's lucrative but not essential to their livelihoods. If the referees union tries to negotiate for better pay, more benefits, or workplace protections, its members aren't risking their main source of income. They can push back, but only so far. The league knows the officials' primary careers are safe, no matter what happens at the bargaining table. This weakens the union's position and keeps the officials dependent on the NFL, rather than the other way around. There's another layer to this problem: potential conflicts of interest. Because NFL referees are allowed to maintain outside business interests, the league opens the door to situations that would make other sports leagues nervous. Imagine a referee who owns a business that works with NFL sponsors or local franchises. Even if every call is made with perfect integrity, the mere possibility of a conflict can erode public trust. The NFL doesn't require officials to sever these outside connections, prioritizing its grip on the officiating workforce over eliminating even the appearance of bias. This isn't just a theoretical concern. The part-time structure injects inconsistency into the system before the first whistle blows. Officials who can't dedicate their full professional focus to the job are more likely to make mistakes, and the league's power dynamic discourages them from speaking out or demanding better conditions. The result is a fragile foundation, one that's prone to cracks when the pressure mounts. But what happens when that foundation gives way, and a high-profile mistake explodes into public controversy? The NFL's next move is to close ranks, keeping its review process hidden from fans and media alike. Accountability in NFL officiating is a black hole. To see just how stark the difference is, look at what happens in the NBA after a controversial finish. The league releases its last 2-minute report, a public, play-by-play breakdown of every call and non-call in the final 2 minutes of close games. Each decision is graded as correct or incorrect. The outcome of the game doesn't change, but the transparency does something powerful. Fans see the league admit mistakes, explain decisions, and take responsibility. That level of openness builds trust, even when the calls go against your team. Now compare that to the NFL. Picture a playoff game decided by a questionable roughing the passer flag. Social media erupts. Fans and analysts break down the play from every angle, but the NFL doesn't release any public review or explanation. There's no official report, no press conference. At best, a vague statement leaks out to a reporter days later, quietly acknowledging the error to the affected team, never to the public. For everyone else, the message is simple: the matter is handled internally, and that's the end of it. The result is a system where fans are left in the dark, forced to accept the league's word without any real evidence or explanation. The 2019 NFC Championship game is the perfect example. The New Orleans Saints Saints were on the verge of a Super Bowl appearance, only to be derailed by a blatant missed pass interference call in the closing minutes. The defender hit the receiver well before the ball arrived, helmet to helmet in full view of millions. The league admitted privately that the no call was a mistake, but made no public announcement and took no direct corrective action. Instead of adopting a transparent review process like the NBA's, the NFL tried a short-lived experiment. For one season, pass interference became reviewable. The result? Games slowed to a crawl, confusion reigned, and officials almost never overturned calls. After a single year, the rule was scrapped, and the league reverted to its old ways. The contrast couldn't be clearer. The NBA grades its refs for the world to see, while the NFL buries its judgments in internal memos. This isn't just a difference in style, it's a deliberate business strategy. The NFL's leadership believes that public admissions of error would weaken the authority of its officials and the league itself. By keeping reviews secret, the league protects its image and maintains control. But this secrecy comes at a cost. Every time a call goes unaddressed, fan frustration grows. Every time the league refuses to explain, trust erodes a little more. That erosion of trust isn't just a theoretical problem. The NFL's closed-door approach to officiating worked in an era when fans had little recourse and the stakes were mostly emotional. But the landscape has changed. Now there's more than pride on the line. There's real money and a new set of risks that secrecy can't contain. The NFL's relationship with sports betting has changed everything. You can't watch a single game without seeing ads for DraftKings or FanDuel. The league isn't just allowing sports betting, it's cashing in. Over $1.5 billion was legally wagered on NFL games in Nevada in 2021, and the league has signed massive data and advertising deals with major sportsbooks. The NFL now profits directly from an industry that depends on the integrity of every single play. This financial connection means that every call on the field carries real financial consequences, not just for fans but for the league itself. This is where the cracks in the NFL's officiating model become impossible to ignore. The old defense of human error doesn't hold up when a single holding or pass interference call can swing millions of dollars in bets. Fans and bettors watch every flag with a new level of scrutiny. The perception of bias isn't just a talking point, it's a threat to the league's credibility. And no team has become a bigger flashpoint than the Kansas City Chiefs. As they chase a historic Super Bowl three-peat, every close call in their favor is clipped, replayed, and dissected by fans convinced the deck is stacked. There's no shortage of fuel for these suspicions. Viral clips of controversial calls pile up every week. Statistically, in 10 of their last 11 playoff games since 2021, the Chiefs have drawn fewer penalties than their opponents. That stat spreads quickly, especially when the stakes are highest. But zoom out, and the numbers show the Chiefs are penalized at a league average rate during the regular season. The problem is, these numbers don't settle the debate, they only add to it. In the absence of transparency, fans pick the stats that fit their beliefs. The NFL's refusal to open up its officiating review process leaves everyone guessing. That secrecy is the heart of the integrity crisis. Unlike the NBA, which publicly grades its officials, the NFL keeps its evaluations private. There are no public reports, no explanations for mistakes, and no way for fans to know if officials are held accountable. This information vacuum breeds conspiracy theories. When the league stays silent, fans fill in the blanks themselves. Every controversial call becomes evidence of a larger plot, and every missed explanation deepens the distrust. Legal experts point out that successfully rigging games would demand massive, coordinated collusion, something that's hard to pull off without detection. But perception is what matters. When the NFL profits from gambling and refuses to shine a light on how games are officiated, it creates a perfect storm. The structure that once worked in a simpler era is now exposed as outdated and unfit for the modern game. Legalized sports betting didn't create the NFL's officiating problem, but it has forced it into the spotlight. The league's reliance on part-time officials and secretive reviews is no longer just a quirky tradition, it's a risk to the sport's reputation. Accusations of bias and questions about integrity won't go away until the NFL builds a system that fans can trust. The stakes have never been higher, and the league's next moves will define how much trust remains. At its core, the NFL's officiating crisis is a choice. The league has built a system that values control over consistency and secrecy over transparency, even as coaches and insiders recognize that the refusal to invest in full-time officials or more booth oversight is a calculated decision. This stands in sharp contrast to the NBA, which publicly grades its referees and publishes detailed reports after close games. The NFL could easily adopt proven solutions. The NBA's accountability model and the NFL's own Super Bowl referee bonus structure, where top officials can earn up to $50,000 for one game, show that change is possible. So what do you think is the most urgent fix? Full-time refs, public report cards, or expanded replay review? Let us know in the comments.